Okay, so you guys said we did the first one completely, so we're going to start with B. Was that a function, yes or no? Is the second one a function, yes or no? Yes. Yes, because remember, it passes the vertical line test. Now, yesterday I was telling you I like to make a box for my domain and range. So, for my domain, those are my x values. So, I'm going to make my vertical lines like this. Okay. So, what is all the way to the left? What is the smallest possible x value I have? What is that? Count it. Right here. What is that x value? -7. Do we agree? Okay. I know I heard you, but like there's 20 others of you in here today. Okay, now to the right, what is this x value? +5. Okay, good. Now, and I know it's kind of covered up on mine, but when I go to the left, is that a filled in circle or a hole? Yes, as far as I go to the left, it is filled in, which means I use a bracket. Remember closed circle and open circles? Now, on the right side, is that a closed circle or an open circle? That is open. So does that have a bracket still? No. Good, it has parentheses. Okay, now for my other values, those are my y values. So I'm going to look to see where do they go through the y-axis. So I have down here, up to here. So what is my smallest y value? All the way at the bottom. I heard a whisper of it. -3. And what's my largest y value when I go up to the top? +1. Now, does the bottom have a closed circle or open circle? It was closed, and the top was closed or open? Open, so it's parentheses. Okay? Do you need to draw those lines every single time? No. I just like to because I think it makes it a little bit easier to see. And I saw a couple people earlier doing it on their homework, and they were pretty successful. So you don't have to. I think it makes it a little bit easier to visualize sometimes. Now, I'm going to do the next two. Then we have a third one. And then we're going to get started on the worksheet that I have. There are 21 questions. Whatever you don't finish in class is your homework. So most of my third period class finished it. So the vast majority of them. Okay, here are the next two. Do we identify function or not a function as well? We skipped through and did that for all of them, right? So was this one a function or not a function? Yes, it is a function. Because remember, it passes the vertical line test. Now, what is my smallest x value if I'm making my box? What is my smallest x value? Negative what? This is a -3 right there? That's a -4. Okay, what about when I go to the right? What's the largest x value? Count it up for me. The largest x value to the right. 5. Okay. Now, they both have open circles. So is it going to be a square bracket or a parentheses? Both of these will have parentheses because they have open circles. Now, for my y value, what's my smallest y value? Where do I go through the y-axis at? Good, at -2. And how far do I go up? To +5. Okay, now at -2, right here, does it have a closed circle, open circle, no circle? What's happening there? Is there a closed circle, open circle, no circle? I drew an open circle, but is there a circle there normally? No. So if there's no circle, that means it goes through, okay? That means it is closed. The only time you have an open circle is literally there would be an open circle drawn there, okay? So this is a closed circle because it goes through that point. So that means I have a square bracket. Perfect, I heard that. Now, when I go to the top, that still has an open circle from the original, from the x value, so that will be a parentheses, okay? So I use a square bracket for a closed circle or for going through a point. So far, we've seen parentheses. For open circle, there will be one other time we use them, okay? Whoops. Now, on the fourth one, was that a function or not a function? Yes, that is a function. And I know they're not here, but these are arrows telling me I go on forever and ever and ever in each direction. So, this is what happens. So, yes, this was a function. What is my smallest x value to the left for my domain? If I told you it goes on forever and ever and ever, it goes to negative infinity on the left. And what about all the way to the right? Where does it go? Positive infinity. Now, is infinity a number that I can count up to? No, it's just an idea that is a very, 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 very large number. So can I use brackets or parentheses for infinity? Parentheses. Brackets can only be used if it's a number that is included. So since infinity isn't something I can count to, that has parentheses, okay? So open circles and infinity use parentheses. Closed circles and going through the point are brackets. Now for my range, it's a little bit harder to see, but if I come over to my y-axis, where does it look like it goes through there? Yeah, it's between 0 and 1, which is 0.5. And where does it go through? Up at the top.
8.5.
What's that value? 8.5, is that what I've heard? Okay. Now, are both of those points included? Not included. One is, one isn't. What's going on? Do I use brackets or parentheses? Or a mixture?
Brackets.
Why do I use brackets, Jacob? He's right. I do use brackets, but why?
They're going through.
They go through. Is that what you're going to say, Andrew? Yeah, so if I look at all of these values, right here where that concavity changes, that's where the curvature is. Those are points, and they all go through there. So this is a bracket. So as long as the graph goes through, it's a bracket. Open circle, parentheses, infinity, parentheses, everything else is a bracket. Okay? Ready for our last one? Okay. The last one, was that a function or not a function? This one is not a function. Good. But even though it's not a function, I can still identify the domain and range. So once again, these tell me the arrows go on forever into the left direction. So what is my smallest x value? Good. Negative infinity. I go forever to the left. Now, where do I go to at the right? Where do I stop? Okay. Right here, do we agree that that's at 8? My largest x value is 8. Okay. Are either of these included? Are either of those points included, or either of those numbers? One is, one isn't. Okay, so which one gets parentheses then? The infinity, and what does 8 get? A bracket, because it's a point and I go through that point. Okay. Finally, my range, you see how the arrow goes on forever and ever and ever and ever into the downward direction? So what does that mean I have? Negative infinity. And then I go on forever and ever and ever in the positive direction, upwards, because these arrows keep going and keep going forever in each of their respective directions. So that's negative to positive infinity. And again, infinity gets parentheses, okay? Okay, here's the last thing we're going to write. Domain is what? What is domain? How do I identify domain? Those are my x values or my inputs. So we're going to write inputs or x values. And that comes from left to right. That's how we read it. Then what does that mean ranges? Outputs or y values. Good. And that one's going to be up and down. So that's actually going to be from the bottom to the top. Okay, open circle means not included. and we use parentheses, or this also counts for infinity. And finally, closed circle is included. We can use brackets, or the graph goes through the point. Okay. So this is all you need to know as far as domain and range go.